Generally, we tend to be attracted by the idea that in the East we find some kind of exotic experience or a better society or a different way of being. What I'm noticing, I've noticed, is that the human mind is pretty much the same everywhere, especially nowadays, pretty much attached to money and giving priority to personal acquisition rather than common sense with others. We think that we go to Thailand, China, India, you name it, we find some kind of guru dressed in a nice way, some kind of mystical mantras or visualizations or practices that we actually lead us to some kind of spiritual world that we had depicted in our mind. And I do understand that it is normal to one sense to try to find an escape for life from life because um, life is not that nice. Let's face it, the society and the way the world is going on is not what we actually would like to have outside. And I know that you might not like what I'm about to say, but I feel honestly to speak my thoughts clearly maybe can be useful for other people. When we start to practice some form of spirituality, let's face it, we are highly confused, um, especially nowadays through the internet and through the kind of fast process of spiritual alignment, whatever that thing might mean. We get trapped into all the offers on the market that promise some kind of enlightenment. But let's face it for a second. Let's talk about this because let's bring it to the qigong system. You know, I show the superpower stuff that you see on my website, even on the YouTube ads, which for me are just a proof of the possibilities that the qigong system can lead to. But let's say we achieve some of these abilities because the practices really work, and then so what? If our mind is full of greed, full of negative emotions, full of personal interest, full of fluctuations, because let's face it, life is not a steady experience. Things keep on changing. So, although we have achieved all these possibilities, what will be the real deal of those um, achievements? And you might think, so why do you show all these things, all these capabilities? Well, the reason is fairly simple, is because um, the practices really work, and achieving a high level of energy in ourselves, vital energy in ourselves, it means to have a strong body, stable emotion, and clarity in the mind, which eventually might lead us to what I think is the most important achievement that we can really get into the Qigong path, which is becoming an essential human being. So a human being which is able to stay quiet and having 100% contentment just by paying attention to himself or to herself, with no need to extra satisfaction from the next desire. And I'm not saying that life needs to be pushed away. You can enjoy life, you can enjoy coffee, you can enjoy a cigarette, you can enjoy sex. But within a Qigong system, what we can really do is deepening the presence within ourselves and freeing ourselves from the constant movement of the mind and of the external and internal perceptions to come a place which I would say is probably out of time and out of life at the same time. Although we live in it and we have some kind of practicality in life, like me, I'm doing this video, I'm gonna be uploading this video, I have to schedule it, I will be sending to other people. So there is a practicality going on, but the best thing that can happen, in my opinion, is really breaking that connection with the internal voice in our head. And let's face it, to do that, you need to be in a stable and good condition. It's not easy to do that when life is in completely disorder, when the body is not functioning properly, when our emotions are not functioning properly. It's not easy to live, let's say, on the flow. That's why I think it's very good to work with the foundation. of ourselves. At least for me, it really worked after having practiced Buddhism with a teacher, having tried those medicinal plants, ayahuasca, peyote, and drugs, you name it, having read so many mystical books when I was young. Now I don't read. I don't remember last time I read a book. Probably was many years ago. What I'm trying to say here is that there is no need to travel anywhere. If you do, well, you will experience for yourself that maybe you might go to an ashram, maybe might meet an amazing guru or an amazing teacher, whatever it is. The good thing is gonna last for a little bit, but after a while, things will go back to normal. And when traveling, we might see actually in the chaos that we are living as human beings, which is quite discouraging. And in my opinion, I think that the only way to evolution is going to be distractions, because there's no a way that we can fix the world for what it is, and there is no need to fix it either. I think we just reached to a point that a few people will decide, to do the real work and actually to turn the attention within, probably pushed by the fact that the external world is not working and the relationships, the way we treat each other is not working. So at some point, we might naturally come to this urge of saying, so what? So what about me? And I try to fix myself first. No, I try to live in this dangerous and crazy world, which is no different the East from the West, because nowadays what I'm noticing is that East has been polluted by the West, and they're losing their culture, they're losing their traditions, they are after money as we are in the West. And of course there are very nice people too, and there are still some nice kind of tradition, but if we are really serious about I don't want to say finding a solution, because we have to see that we are in a complete mess to find the solution first. We have to see our lack of integrity in our life. I'm not talking about some kind of moral thing. I'm talking about uh, our mind that is constantly jumping around. We are not able to focus. We are completely messed up in the way that we lead our life, and we try to find certainty, but of course it's not part of this life. Certainly that's a false illusion. What I'm trying to say is that traditions, religions, cultures, they represent something above the human being, because essentially, even when I'm traveling, what I'm seeing is that I have a different skin, they have a different skin, but we're still human being, right? Which means that if instead of putting so much emphasis on the exotic systems that they have, or on some kind of cultural belief, we try to analyze and make work this, which is totally under our control. That's the best way, in my opinion, because our understanding about ourselves and life is not going to be based on some kind of moral ideas. I'm a spiritual guy, I behave in this way, or I'm in Hindu, so I do this every morning in a kind of superstitious way. That's all rubbish. We should try to go at the very bottom of ourselves, because all these kind of cultural beliefs, this art, whatever it is, the cultural things that we like, they represent the top part, right? Something which is not really the deep core, because at the deep core, human beings are all the same everywhere. We all have fears, we all have struggles, we all have conflict, and that can be analyzed. And that will be the most serious thing we can do if we are really serious, if in the spiritual path, if we are trying to bring order in our life. The best thing to do is, in my opinion, is not to follow some ideas. It's actually to do something about yourself. I'm not trying to sell anything like the qigong path or whatever. You could do yoga, you could do whatever you want, you could try meditation. The thing is that nowadays things are quite screwed up, and unfortunately the money-driven society has spot a new big business, which is the spiritual field, because let's face it, people are screwed up, so more and more people are turning towards meditation, towards some kind of practice. But many times the people offering some kind of service are not really fully qualified, in the sense they maybe did the weekend training program, or they are bringing about some kind of a new system of ideas. So I have to say that we have to be really dangerous. We have to be really careful. It's a dangerous field. We have to be really careful about what we do. I proposed the name qigong system, uh, first of all, because you can see many people actually practicing and having amazing results. But in particular, what I like about qigong or qigong, let's put it wherever you want, if you've found something already which is a respectable system, is the fact that I think that paying attention to the more dense material of ourselves, which is the body, um, and expanding our ability of being full aware of the different parts, and if there is tension somewhere, even when we carry on other things in life, allows us to already detach ourselves from the flow of thinking that is constantly analyzing life, trying to make sense of it, which is impossible actually. So it's an amazing tool to bring presence, but not presence by reading some kind of book or here and now and all these things, because they can help those books at the beginning to develop some kind of interest into the process of spiritual growth. And they can also can be nice because by hearing somebody talking about their experiences, we might feel a little bit. But of course, the experiences cannot be translated through words. We have to do it for ourselves. And what I found in the qigong system is a practical tool to do the work for ourselves, free from the belief system that I mentioned before. So free from some kind of structure and guru and Hindu and Christianity and Buddhism, whatever you want to put on those things. But I'm not saying that those are bad. They all share great values, and but the problem is that we don't verify things for ourselves. We take things for granted. We believe to these stories, to some kind of mystical being living, I don't know, many years before. But the most practical thing will be, I want to do those things. I wanna see what it is consciousness for myself. I wanna see when the mind is clear, 100% sharp and stable, what it is about. And of course, I'm not gonna share any kind of personal experience, because what's the point? But only at that stage we can actually get to the point that all the answers will vanish, all the questions will vanish, and we will find for ourselves a stability point, which is the only stable thing in life, which doesn't belong to life in one sense. It's the foundation of it. In some places they call it the natural state of the mind. 100% clarity, 100% presence, not intellectual, not non-conceptual, and that will be the real achievement. That will be what I wish for you and for everybody watching this video practicing qigong. Not to achieve some kind of silly superpowers and going around like a special human being. That's a very silly thing to do. If you start to practice just for that, well, chances are higher that I don't even accept people like this in the path personally. But you might start the first levels and see if you find a deeper meaning in it. But my hope for you is that you could take your personal search to the next step. Next step means total uncertainty, total lack of support, total facing the disorder that we have inside as human being, and trying to bring on the order first in a practical way. I have to fix certain aspects of my life, I go for it, because there's no point that I close myself in a room, I stay like this, repeat some fancy mantra, and then life is unbalanced on other aspects. If I have to do work, if I have to look after family, whatever it is. So we have to, I don't want to use this word strive, but we have to bring attention on every aspect, fixing it and fixing also the issues that we might have within ourselves, whether it is body, emotional, mental, to try to bring order within this chaos that we live as human beings. I know that life is difficult, but this is what we can really do even in difficult circumstances. Because let's face it, there is something more important than being here and being a special guy or acquiring some kind of things or going around like you have some kind of better quality, better abilities of someone else. The best thing you can do is just becoming an essential human being that can sit on this chair and just be quiet and be 100% blissed out and content with life without trying to change it without resisting it, but embracing it. So that hopefully, without changing the world, what it is around us will start to make more sense. And that's the real impact that we can bring in the world with our work.